Hello and welcome to my quick tutorial on For Honor about Zan Hu. Zan Hu is a rather basic character but can be very dangerous if used correctly. Let's go over his moveset first. As I said, his moves are rather simple, like light, 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 heavy, heavy, light, and heavy, heavy. As you could see, with Zan Hu it's special because all of his finishers are unblockable, including his light. That means with that you can mix the opponent up with sometimes throwing it, sometimes guard breaking him out of it. And there's a really quick thing you need to know. Don't spam this. It might seem good, especially in the earlier phases of For Honor where the enemy can't really parry that. But if you do that too often, the opponent will just catch on to it and try to parry your light. So what you're going to do most of the time is the heavy. That doesn't mean don't use the light, but just use it sparingly. Do some mind games with it. Now, if you got the problem that you do your light and then a heavy and the enemy just side dodges, there's the easy solution for that. Of course, you can't always use it too often, but it works. If you light and zone, or heavy and zone, because what's special about Zan Hu's zone, it's undodgeable. And the great thing is, you can use your zone and then unblockable right after. So Zan Hu technically has a free attack combo. Zan Hu also has a bash. It's very important for him because to get into his mind games, you first have to get a hit off. It's pretty fast, and with the new update it's pretty difficult to dodge. If you didn't know, bashes were made unreactable. That means even if you try to, most players just couldn't react to it, like even less now. Zan Hu also has a top dodge forward light and a top forward heavy. What's special about the light is, it can't be blocked like this. That means your weapon doesn't get thrown away and you can keep on doing your things. But the problem with that is, if you get into a match with two good opponents, they can notice it, that you do that a lot. That means they can just parry. But what's great about this character is that he has 3 dodge abilities that go forward. That means light, heavy for a delay, and of course the bash. If you want, you can also mix up your light and heavy, and you can even feint the heavy into a guard break, like this. That means you can get pretty creative with Zan Hu's mind games. That's where he's at his strongest. Just let the opponent guess what you're gonna do. This is basically it with Zan Hu's kit, but there is something special about him. He has dodge cancel recovery. Not as good as Orochi, for example, but it's pretty good. That means most characters, after you do attack, you're stuck in this and you both go to neutral. That means nobody has frame advantage, and it's just, if both throw a light at the exact same time there, you're both going to hit each other. Nobody's going to win that. But what the dodge cancel recovery means, instead of just waiting here like this, you can dodge out of it. That means you still have the advantage and can take care of the opponent with just some simple things, because your pressure basically never stops if you don't do wrong reads. So basically what you can do is light, heavy, bash, light, and then just keep on doing your shenanigans with Zan Hu. Something you can also do to throw your opponent off is light, bash, light, and then continue on with your combo. That makes a light zone mix up way more dangerous. You can also mix up your opponent by just empty dodging, and most people will do a side dodge attack. Speaking of side dodge attacks, Zan Hu is a very, very, very strong one. You can go into both directions, and you can either press heavy or light. That means it will go into different directions. And the side dodge attack has a higher speed than a light. That means most people won't be able to parry that. That means you can get away with basically just spamming it. But don't overuse it, because at one point the enemy is going to win the 50-50 of where it's going to land. Of course, you can also just empty dodge and let the opponent think something's going to happen. But it's basically up to the opponent what you're gonna do. Zan Hu also has a deflect, which means that if the enemy attacks and you dodge into the attack, you can do a special attack. That works for basically every attack and every side dodge. That means if he attacks now, sorry, messed it up. You can dodge into it and make your attack unblockable and do a lot of damage. That works for the sides and of course also for the top. That means it doesn't matter if you do a light or heavy afterwards. You can also do this on a heavy attack if you know your opponent isn't going to feint it. It's just a very strong tool to use. And as I said, when you're playing Zan Hu, try not to lose your pressure. That's when you're at your strongest. When you just keep on throwing unblockables, mix them up, and just try to be as unpredictable as possible with your attacks. And basically, after you try them for a while, you will understand how enemies will react to certain things you do. And especially with also the opponents in particular you're fighting against. That means the more you play as him, the more obvious it will become what the enemies will do when you do what. So really the best thing you can do is just play him and find out.